Amici del Neighbourhood Watch italiano, del controllo del vicinato, di CDV Channel, da oggi iniziamo una serie di interviste in lingua inglese, saranno sottotitolate. Oggi abbiamo in collegamento dalla Germania, in realtà, poi ci spiegherà perché, Tina Risme, che... buongiorno, hi Tina. Ciao.
Buongiorno, hi.
Tina is the head of the Estonian NGO, non-government organization, which is taking care of the development of the Neighbourhood Watch project in Estonia. So we're talking about Estonia today. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks. First of all, I introduced you in Italian, of course. You are involved directly, you are taking care directly since long in the Neighbourhood Watch project in Estonia. Would you tell us how you are involved in that and what sense, what you're doing?
Yeah, at the moment I'm head of the board. It means that I'm responsible for the strategic road for the Estonian Neighbourhood Watch. In the board, there are 3 additional members. So we are 4 people, and we are not doing daily Neighbourhood Watch activities, but we are informed about activities, and we have a managing director who is responsible for daily activities, but he is also then responsible for sharing this information with the board, so that we can make decisions and we can support our staff in their daily job.
Fantastic. So he's on the field, let's say. He's the one on
yes. So, and I'm in Germany, but actually it doesn't change a lot, because we are always having our meetings online anyway, also before COVID and before I moved to Germany. So, it's not really changing a lot.
Tell us about your background, which is interesting to know how you got to this organization.
Yeah, so I started in Neighbourhood Watch actually quite a long time ago. It was 2003. And I started with a school violence prevention project. So I was a project manager, and this project was implemented by the Neighbourhood Watch NGO. And that was my step into this field, to the crime prevention field. And then in the organization, I took different roles. I was first responsible for the school violence prevention project. Then we had a project for kindergartens, how to teach kindergarten teachers to deal with not violence between children, but mostly how to keep the children safe and where to pay attention. So it was mostly to teachers, but we also involved the parents, and we trained them basically.
More psychological aspects, let's say.
Yes, and we also had funding from European Union. We could have we could increase our staff, so we had contact persons in every county. So I was responsible for this task, and to train them, to support them, and then later I had a chance to apply for the managing director position. It was in 2006, I think. Yeah, and then I took this role, and until 2011, I was the managing director for the NGO. And then I went to the maternity leave, and after that I continued to be a member of the board. So the idea is that the experiences are not lost and the connections are not lost. So I'm gladly in this family, and it's very interesting, and it's offering me a lot, and I hope that I can give a lot back.
For sure. For sure, very interesting. Would you tell us how these schemes are organized in your country? Since when do they exist? They started so many years ago. If you started in 2003, they were already there.
Yeah, it started in 2000 actually. So last year we celebrated our 20th anniversary, very, very small because of the COVID. But yeah, we have now been active 20 years, and yeah, it started in a very difficult conditions. In 1999, there was a big police reform in Estonia. So they cut very dramatically the police forces, mostly those who are operative, who are working on the streets.
Mhm.
So the fear of crime rised. And then there was a group of people who have heard about the Neighbourhood Watch from the UK mostly. And then there were also some government organizations like Ministry of Justice. They were interested of this movement. There were police people participating. So a group of people, initiators, they started this movement in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And from the government side or from the official side, it was very supportive and they encouraged us. But the people, the Estonian people, they were quite careful, because we just came from the society where neighbor was maybe KGB agent, or you couldn't trust your neighbor actually.
Post-communistic area, right? So,
yes. And many people asked how you dare to start something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not starting to sneak after my neighbor on. And it was a lot of explanation which we had to do to say that it's not sneaking about your neighbor. It's mostly your own activities, what you can do, that your home is safer. Mm-hmm. But it took a lot of time. So when I joined in 2003, it was still quite complicated. And but we had interested people, and slowly we could explain our approach, and we had some good examples when crimes and thefts were prevented because of the neighbors' activities. So it took some time, but we managed to explain the idea of the neighborhood.
So Tina, it was a cooperation since the beginning from governmental, let's say, part and the private and the citizens,
yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes, it was from the beginning. It was mostly like encouragement. It was no financial support at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So this came later. So the support was there, also from the police side.
Okay. And so to talk about the results today, we're talking about how many groups or schemes in Estonia.
The numbers are not so big and impressive maybe, but we have to consider that Estonia is a small country. It's 1.3 million. I don't know what
like Milano and the neighborhood area, basically.
So we have now about 10,000 households participating.
Well, not bad.
And we only collect the households number, not the individuals who are living in this household.
Household. So it means, tentatively, maybe 30,000, 40,000 people involved, right?
Yeah, approximately, yes. And we have 580 districts. So these 10,000 households live in 580 districts.
Excellent.
And now in the last, I would say 5 to 6 years, we have had the growth is 200, 300 families, households per year are joining Neighbourhood Watch.
Great. So people are started to understand what it is about, right?
Yes.
Social.
Yes. It's it took us a lot of time, really, when we started. We had a different approach, not the one we have right now. Mm-hmm. We basically tell
us about it. This is interesting.
Yeah, so it's It's at the beginning, police, we went door to door. We talked about Neighbourhood Watch, asked people to join, give their data, name, address, telephone numbers, signature that they are willing to join Neighbourhood Watch. So basically, they had no chance to say no. I mean, if a policeman is behind your door and says, please sign it, then yeah, some people, of course, said that I'm not interested, but usually they signed it, but it is not the correct way how to start a community work or community program together. The neighbors don't know each other. So, and they don't really understood the idea of the Neighbourhood Watch.
The social aspect, at least, which
Yes.
is important, right?
Yeah. So, and of course, these collecting the data and informing the neighbors like this is it doesn't work. So these people, they were not, you know, they were not. It was not their idea to start it. We came and said that please sign and please join, and they agreed with it. And long term, it doesn't work.
Yes.
So this was our experience. And they started slowly to, you know, to get passive. They didn't react to information, or they didn't come to meetings. So also police said that, yeah, Neighbourhood Watch sign is there, but nothing is happening there. It's silence. They don't know. They don't hear anything back. So we changed the approach, and we started to invite people to community meetings. So there were a few interested persons from a community. Then we asked them to invite the neighbors. We invited the police, sometimes also city government representatives. So we really got together physically.
Got it. So, and you organized in this specific area where you had a request, you organized a public meeting, trying to involve people, maybe also through social, through local newspaper, like this, like having the people to go and start from the bottom, the project, right? Is this
that's exactly what we did.
Perfect.
And then most of these meetings ended with a Neighbourhood Watch district. But of course, it was not always the case. There were also some pessimism, or it doesn't help, or it doesn't work. I don't like my neighbors. I don't want to give my data to neighbors. The funniest comment I've heard back was that I don't want that my wife finds out that I have another wife or another girlfriend. So
yeah. That's a risk. Of course, that is a risk. Where you'd go.
This is a risk, but I told this guy that it shouldn't be easy to have two wives, two girlfriends anyway. So
good answer.
Yes, but of course, also there were some problems with the trust towards police. They said that I call the police, but they are not doing anything. So
that's common.
This is actually also something where the NGO can help and support, because we can track down why the police didn't help you. What happened? What happened with this information?
Talking about these evenings that you organize, these public events, who is taking part besides the citizens on one side, of course? Who is who's on the stage?
So Neighbourhood Watch NGO, of course, our role is to describe the movement, the method. Then we always invite the local constable. So we always invite these people who are responsible for this area. Then depending on the problematics, or if we know that there are some questions to the city government, then we also invite the city government to participate. Sometimes they are interested themselves to come, if they are aware that this meeting takes place. We have invited also rescue service. We have invited victim support. We have invited different structures which are somehow related with crime prevention. So, but the standard usually is Neighbourhood Watch and the police.
And the police. This meeting is taking place in a public area or in a police, let's say, department area, or depending.
Yeah, it's
church.
Different. Yeah, it's.
We made even some meetings in churches in Italy, you know, but it worked.
I understand that, but in Estonia, I have been in different locations. I was once even in Indian sauna having a meeting, but usually it's either some community building where a school or a city government or a police station. Sometimes we are invited to somebody's home. Summertime, sometimes outside, together with grilling, you know, having fun together. So it's very different.
Cool. And so we're looking at about what, 2 or 3 meetings a month on average, or how many?
Yes, I would say it's again summertime. It's not so active. If there are holidays, then it's not so much interest. But usually 2 or 3 meetings, and yes, I guess this is the average.
Great. And how do the people then? So when they take part into the meeting, they say, "Wow, cool! I like this idea." So if we make a community, we get also the sign, I guess, right? We get the signs to show that we have a neighborhood watch area. And then how do they get in touch with each other? What do you suggest them to do? What do they use?
So we have actually a very fixed structure for joining Neighbourhood Watch. So we, if the community decides, okay, we would like to join, then the next step is that they have to choose a spokesperson or a leader of this district, like a contact person for us, for police, for city government. So this is the next step. And then this person starts to collecting the data of the neighbors. So we talk about name, address, phone number, email, car, and based on that data, we form a Neighbourhood Watch contact sheet. So it's on paper, it's online, it's in your phone. It's, I mean, early days it was only on paper, but now usually we provide this on paper, but I'm not sure if anybody is keeping it like next to phone or so it's usually digitally used.
So the people get to know each other during this evening. They decide on this very evening, okay, this or this person, maybe they were active to promote the evening itself, and this person will become the spokesperson, so to say, for the whole neighborhood. Let me ask you something, sorry, that was not planned, but it is interesting because it is right now a very hot point in Italy. How do you cope with the GDPR concerning all this data handling, which is actually for us now quite an issue, because having all this data, especially private people, and using it, you have a liberatory. I think the people need to sign kind of a agreement that the data is used for the purpose, right? I guess.
Yes, exactly. So if they give us the data, they sign. It was actually already before the GDPR issue. They agreed to give the data for Neighbourhood Watch purposes only. So if I want to sell my car, I'm not allowed to use this contact list.
Got it, of course. So, okay, perfect.
Only for
Neighbourhood Watch purpose. So the people get in touch, then, there's a group, there's maybe a local web Facebook page post, and then they use WhatsApp, or what kind of way to communicate with each other?
Good question, because we have no one solution for that. We have tried different things. Early days, before the digitized step, we had face-to-face meetings. We had regular meetings. We encouraged the neighbors to get together, because at least once a year they have to update the data. Check that every number, every car, every address is still correct. So when we started to have emails, Facebook, then of course people started to use these channels. And we decided that we could provide our own communication channel, like a Neighbourhood Watch platform for the communication, for information sharing, and stuff like this. So we gave a lot of money to provide this platform, but it was not used. It was not. Some people used it. But we didn't got this much of usage as we hoped, because people didn't want to have another app or platform or passwords where I have to log in, because they had already the existing ones, Facebook, WhatsApp, or other channels which they used in their daily lives anyway. And our impression was that they are just not interested to have a new one. It didn't had any added value comparing to existing ones.
I see.
So at the moment, we don't offer any specific platform. Usually, they do a WhatsApp group or a Facebook community, or it's basically decided by the people themselves.
That's what we also say now. We say you organize your communication internally as you prefer. It can be maybe in an old 60s area where the elderly people are living, then they prefer to just make a call to the next neighbor, making the chain, and or knocking the door, or maybe they prefer WhatsApp if it's a new area with a lot of young people. So being the only point, of course, how to involve the elderly people. But other than that, every group is free to organize, as long as the coordinator is in contact with the city, with the community of coordinators for the whole areas. So there's a kind of one group which is assembling all the coordinators and the police. And when there's an interesting news, it's going into this upper group, and they share it amongst the many groups in the city. Otherwise, it stays there in the small area. That's how we organized it, basically.
Yeah, we have the same, and this has proved to be the most easiest and effective way. Of course, the organization, we communicate also with the district leaders, and for that we have an email system where we can choose which leaders we want to approach. This is existing, of course, but the very local communication are totally up to the people how they want to do it. Fantastic. And I can say that in Estonia, we don't really have the problem with elderly people. They are also very capable of using cell phones. Not 100%, of course, but the majority at least. So actually, it's not something that we have to think of or consider.
Interesting. And do you have anything with stores, like commercial activities, any scheme or any material that you created in order to promote what we are doing here in some cities now, is to create really material for them to communicate one with the other and tell each other amongst stores of the same area what is happening, if there's anybody who's doing shoplifting or giving fake money, trying to change money, all these tricks, they just exchange information to each other and with a warning. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, we had, again, it's more than 10 years ago, we had like a pilot project, and we choose the old city area of the capital of Estonia, Tallinn, And we had this project running, I guess it was 5 months, mostly the summertime when it's the peak tourist season also in Estonia. And it was exactly what you mentioned, just that the shops are communicating with each other. And we also had an additional training program for the shopkeepers, how to recognize shoplifters, how to notice suspicious behavior, because it's not always our local shoplifters who are committing the crime. There are also tourists who are very well disguised under, they are also stealing stuff from the shops.
Yeah.
Also, we gave advice how to design the shop interior in that way that there are no dark areas where nobody can see actually, how to put the products in that way that it's not so easy to take something with you. And the feedback from the shops were very positive, and they really catched shoplifters as well, and they communicated with each other. But we didn't got additional funding, and this project needs funding. It's not possible to do it on voluntary basis. So despite of the good results, we didn't continue with it.
You know that this is my last hottest question, Tina. You got there. Because it is something which we are facing in Italy. It's all we are doing since 11 years has been 99% made on our own forces and and will and activities, and it's really hard, at least in Italy, to everybody, also the authorities, they pat you on the back and say, "Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great job you're doing over there." But when it comes to money, nothing is coming. So how is it working in Estonia? You have the government supporting somehow with the budget, the groups, or you have a European funding? How did it work?
Yeah, we luckily we have government funding, and also joining Neighbourhood is you have to pay for it. It's very symbolic money. It's 10 euros if you. I'm now mistaken. I mean, it's a one-time payment.
Okay, one time, just when you enter.
Yes. So, and it's symbolic. I'm sorry. It's just I didn't check it up, but
don't worry. But about 10 euros, let's say, small amount of money, just once.
It's once, and it's really symbolic, and it's gives the feeling that I'm paying something, then I want to get something back, and if I want to get something back, then I'm interested, and then we can say that you get something back if you only are active yourself. So it's not that you are buying something from the organization. You are buying maybe support and trainings, additional information, and this is like what we are doing. This is our daily job, that we create Neighbourhood Watch sectors, but we also try to keep them sustainable, that they are not gone after 2-3 years.
Exactly. But you're all volunteers in the NGO, or a kind of, if I may ask?
No, the board is volunteer. The managing director is full-time job.
Of course.
Then we have a bookkeeper. We have some part-time people who are helping the managing director in different districts. So altogether, we have at the moment we have 4 paid personnel.
I understand. Interesting. I understand.
And we get funding from the government. We get 60,000 euros per year. And this is it didn't came easily, and it's not project based anymore. We were project based activity at the beginning, and then we managed to be part of the strategy, the crime prevention strategy in Estonia. So if you are in the strategic planning, and if the government says that our goal in 5 years is to motivate people to be active, we want to encourage people to also take the responsibility for their safety. And there is one NGO who can do this for government, then they have to pay for us.
It's not anymore, let's say, goal-driven, but it is a running costs, which is normal for every office. You know, providing material, coordinating the agendas, organizing, making mailings, whatever information, news feeds. It's normal. Yeah. Very, very, very interesting, Tina. Thank you so much for all your time, and for all the information, which is valuable. And as I said, we created this first social security, so to say, channel, participated security channel in Italy. And we are followed by many police, also police officers and people who are involved in the daily activity of Neighbourhood Watch, who are interested to know more. And I think it will be very, very much of interest knowing what is going on over there in Estonia. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if the traveling is possible again, then we can, you know, change our ways of working. Our police can meet, maybe. Would be interesting to see how you are doing it. Also, that new ideas are always beneficial, and
absolutely.
We are falling into the old routine that we have always done it like this, and we think that this is the best way, but it's not always the case. So yeah, we are also interested to learn from you.
Thank you very much. And I think we'll see us again. We'll come up with more questions in another meeting, maybe later on in the year, if you agree.
Great. It would be great. Thank you also from my side. Thank you for the interest.
Take care. Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.